To the eternally curious, unapologetically superstitious Midnight Society rejects, Stormy Willow welcomes you. We're the eccentric coots, storytellers, explorers, dabblers, practitioners, and paranormal pupils who examine the what's-ifs, the what's-that's, and WTFs of this dimension and beyond. This is the Stormy Willow Podcast, a lighthearted, balanced examination of the paranormal. I'm your host, Adele.
And I'm Sarah.
And thank you guys for stopping by and tuning in today. I think we have an exciting show for you. But to, I guess, start off, any updates or events coming up on your end there, Sarah?
Well, you know what? Let's start out by wishing all of our dads, including ours, a happy Father's Day. That is coming up on Sunday. So happy Father's Day to all of you who are dads or who serve as a dad role. You know, you don't have to be a biological father to serve as that role. So we salute you, all those that are taking care of little ones, maybe not so little ones. And we say hello. And I have some really freaking cool events going on. And there are a few of them that I really wish I could just go to. So let's start it off out in Carson City, Nevada. They have a ghost walk on June the 25th that looks really awesome. And then it looks like they do them about twice a month. And then when it kind of gets darker earlier, they do candlelit and like flashlight ghost walks, which sounds pretty fun.
That sounds like loads of fun. It's not too far from my neck of the woods.
That's what I was going to say. So I thought I would start out that way. And this event goes on, this next one goes on every Thursday through Sunday, and I want to do this so bad. This is out in St. Augustine, and they have a candle making at a witchcraft candle parlor.
Oh, wow.
Sounds amazing. They do it Thursday through Sundays. You could book on their website at witchcraftcandlebar.com. And I looked at the room where they do it, and they do like ghost stories, and like the room is just real witchy and cool looking. I'm like, holy cow, like I want to do that one. I think that sounds a lot of fun. So if you're out in St. Augustine, definitely check that out. It looks like a freaking blast.
Isn't St. Augustine pretty haunted as well, right?
I believe St. Augustine is pretty haunted. It isn't, and I may be wrong, but isn't it one of the oldest cities
I think so.
in America, I believe? So
yeah.
I think that I don't know, it just looks so cool. So go on their website, check it out. And if you're out in my favorite city, Salem, Massachusetts, on June the 25th, they have a broom decorating. It's for kids, but I bet they wouldn't turn you away. And the place that they're holding it is called The Witchery.
Ooh.
So that sounds uber fun. And if you're out in Boston, if you're, in Salem and you want to head on over to Boston, the Boston Gay Men's Choir is partnering with Disney for a Pride show out on Tremont Street that looks to be absolutely fabulous. And in my neck of the woods, Rock Hill, South Carolina, June the 25th from 10 to 2 on Main Street, it is Rock Hill Pride. So last year was the first year ever with 30 vendors. This year, Adele, 90 vendors.
Yeah, that's a lot for such a small town.
It is,
sure.
And let me tell you, we kind of ran into, I say we, this is not me at all, it's this amazing place called the Mercantile, and the people that own it, Brittany and Michael, they're just amazing. They've done so many cool things for our small little town. And because we're an alliance, right? Like we have to lift each other up. And so we, all the Pride supporters, we kind of ran into an issue with the city. And they were kind of like, we have this like ordinance, if you will. So, you can't like block off roads and stuff like that. And so all the, pretty much all the businesses that support Pride are like, we'll donate our parking lot. So basically it is happening all around the city, like a mile or so, because of all these awesome sponsors. They're like, no, we're doing it. It's going to be big. So I'm super excited. I'll have to post some photos to our socials to show you guys. But so excited to kind of be a part of this grassroots thing. This will be our second year. Stormy Willow sponsored last year. We didn't sponsor this year because we haven't really made any money. But I'll be there. I'll be there with other organizations and also spreading the word about Stormy Willow.
Yeah, I mean, you already are sponsoring 2 other booths. Like, I think it's fine if we aren't there. And hello, I am a part of the community. So I think we're okay.
We're represented. Yes, we're representing. So those are the events I have. I mean, all really freaking fun events, right? Like, I think like a lot's happening. And on June 27th, yours truly, Sarah, will be 40.
The big 4-0, yeah.
Speaking of truly haunted events.
40 is the new 30.
That's what they tell me. We'll see. I'll let you know. I got a nice card in the mail to get my mammogram from Charlotte Radiology. So I'm like,
oh, that's such a nice reminder.
Here it goes.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. Yes.
Happy birthday. Now coming for an exam.
Yes. Oh my God. But I will be doing that. 2 days after my birthday, just to make sure insurance is going to cover it.
Oh, geez.
I feel like if I did it on my birthday, there might be some questions as to we need to see your birth certificate to see when you were born and see when your mammogram is scheduled to see if we're going to cover. So I'll wait 2 days after, just in case.
Oh, freaking insurance.
I mean, right? I'm ready. It's like this has to be covered. Oh, so this is a perfect Friday for this where I am because we have storms. And Adele, you said it looks like you've got storms coming your way as well.
Finally.
Which you desperately need.
In case you don't know, I'm out in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And God, I can't remember the last time we've had rain. It is so dry. We've had wildfires all over the state for like the last month. We even had one like spark up just a few miles down the road last night, which was a little bit scary. I didn't see any smoke, but I could smell it.
Right.
I think it was small, thank goodness, but we desperately need the rain. So I'm really glad it's stormy, which I guess appropriately it takes us into the forecast.
Exactly.
You don't have any other events.
No, I think we've got a lot on our plate. We're ending out June and going into the beginning of July with a lot of fun stuff happening.
Oh, yeah. And funny enough, the astrological forecast is calling for just sunshine while it's raining today for the both of us. So summer solstice is upon us.
Yes.
And on solstice, the sun moves out of Gemini and into Cancer on June 21st. So this is a time of focusing on comfort, security, especially that emotional security, like a true Cancer.
Yes.
And in case you didn't know, summer solstice is actually when the sun reaches its highest point in the sky. Winter solstice is whenever it's the lowest. So this will kick off solstice, the official beginning of summer with those longer days with sunlight and shorter nights and dark.
I love it. I love the summer solstice.
Oh yeah, that makes perfect sense actually, because it is actually go time, especially for Aries, Libra, Cancer, and Capricorn at this time.
That means me and Steven will actually be working together.
Yeah, like it is all systems go for you guys right now. So actually, since you were all born at the beginning of one of the 4 seasons, this is actually your comfort zone time. So this is a time whenever you're actually very comfortable. So specifically for Aries, it's time for you to prioritize home and family. That's going to be your focus at this time. So maybe a fence or something. I don't know.
You're right. I'm like, yes.
Cancer, this is your season just to be a supercharged, like full energy. It is on.
Which is funny because I told you today, I've been going since 4:30 this morning and it's like, it's 7:30 here. I haven't stopped. By 8 o'clock, I had done a 45-minute weight workout that I led. I had coffee with my friend and I ran 4 miles before 8 o'clock. So I was telling Adele earlier, I'm like, I don't know where this is coming from. And I'm going to go out for 2 more miles at lunch and I'm feeling great. And before this, I was not feeling that way. I was sleeping all the time. And I'm like, I don't want to do anything.
Yeah. Yeah. So definitely a big difference.
I'm feeling it.
Libra, you are also in the spotlight. So look for some recognition coming your way or kind of shining, especially at work. And Capricorn, this is romance and relationships time for you.
All
A
right.
particular relationship will become more important during this time, whether it be romantic or otherwise. So it could be a romance, it could be a friendship, it could even be just a job opportunity
Nice.
or promotion, even just so
Receive
be
that.
mindful of those relationships. And as a whole, the whole zodiac, all of us, it's a time to really think about our relationships and how to deepen those connections. So
I love that. Not a bad forecast at all.
not a bad forecast.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I will take it. Awesome. Well, thanks, Adele, for that.
Yeah, and just to give credit where credit is due, my source was elitedaily.com. That's a new one for me, but I really liked their summary, so I might hit you guys up again.
Astrology is hard, man.
It is.
It really, really is complicated. And I'll get into some of the things. I'm like, wait a second, what does that mean? So kudos to all those folks that can master it. You rock.
Yeah. You
Sometimes
guys are geniuses.
I have to do the dummy version. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you for the forecast. And if you're ready, if you'll recall, if you tuned in last week, if you watched or listened, Adele and I started this new thing where at the end of an episode, we spin a wheel, and the wheel is kind of broken down into, and that is wheel, not wheel. You may not have understood my Southern accent. So like the name wheel or your personal wheel or a steering wheel or a spin the wheel, it's all the same in the South. So a wheel or a wheel, if you will, you spin it. And so we have different categories like haunted places, cryptids, we have cryptids, theories, all kinds of stuff. And so when we land on the needle, it kind of tells us, or when the needle lands on the genre, it tells us what category we're going to research this week. So the end of last week, I landed on haunted places, if you will recall. And I have a really famous haunted place. Any ideas? Anything you might think? Adele wanted to be surprised. I was going to tell her, but she said no. She wanted all the surprises. It's very popular. There's a book. There's a movie. What?
Is it in the United States?
Yes.
The Stanley Hotel?
Nope.
Is it a hotel?
No.
So it's probably a house.
It is a house.
The Amityville House?
It is the Amityville House.
Oh, sweet. Yes. Oh, this will be good.
Yeah. I don't know if you've all, Amityville Horror, such a popular movie. I'm sure you've seen books.
Oh, and by the way, I want to give a nod. We'll have to do a side-by-side comparison, but in the original Amityville movie, that's how our dad looked when we were growing up. The dad,
you know what? I need to look at that.
Even down to the tidy whities in his sweatshirt. It's like that. Wait,
that seems dad. Very familiar. Well, so I'm sure if you haven't heard of Amityville, that's okay. Judgment-free zone. You're going to learn a lot about it today. And if you're interested in what you hear, you can find a shitload of stuff on it. So there's a lot. The movies are great. The old movie was great. The remake was good as well. And my videos also doing some weird things. So if you're watching, there'll be moments where my lips don't seem to be in sync. So that's kind of fun too. maybe I'm getting haunted. I don't know.
Well, your house might be haunted. So
my house is haunted. We'll talk more about that as well.
Maybe we can do some special episodes for Patreon people.
Exactly. So this story starts out with a murder. So we're going to start there, but we're not going to focus there because a lot of the hauntings, as far as becoming famous, if you will, happen after this murder takes place. Okay. So I'm just going to tell you what happened. It's crazy that I love paranormal and stuff, but murder is not my thing. So I don't like to spend a lot of time there. I love all things paranormal, but sometimes murders just creep me out. Because I don't know, just the evilness of people, and especially if it's a most wanted or a cold case, I'm like, oh no, what if they're around?
We just don't like the living, to be honest.
The living's just not where it's at for me.
We're just not into that. That's not what we're about.
Yeah, yes. 100%. So let's start. Okay, so this murder takes place in November 1974. And so Amityville is in Long Island, in case you didn't know. And it is, it's just kind of a nice suburban town. Okay, so this house is beautiful, first of all. And I believe it was built like in the 1920s. So it's just like this beautiful coastal home, And so what happens is this family moves in, the Defeo family, and they're a pretty big family. And they have a son that is 23, and he has a few other siblings, and mom and dad kind of he's kind of at that age where he's just kind of struggling, like making it, those young 20 kind of ages. And so they let him like move back home or whatever. So then he basically murders his mom, his dad, and a few of his siblings with a shotgun while they're sleeping. And
do any of them survive?
Everybody. I think he kills his whole family.
Everybody, right?
Yeah. So he basically kills his whole family. And he says that he heard voices in his head, that he didn't do it, that he heard voices in his head. And because I'm not really spend a lot of time on the murder, his defense basically said that he was insane and tried to get an insanity plea. And they also tried to be like, well, maybe he did hear these voices. But he was reported to be at a bar earlier that day. And said that, they had heard things, like he had tried to call home and all this stuff. And then he sort of changes the story and says like a mobster made him do it. And then he later confesses to do it. So there's a lot of,
changing of the story.
Things.
Yeah.
And then there was also a history of some abuse with his dad. Mom was kind of passive. So there's,
typical 70s family.
Right. And so, I mean, a lot of people say that it's true that the voices really did make him do it, but then there are some other things too. So because I'm not focusing on the murder, I'll leave that up to you to decide, like, could it have happened that way? Who knows?
Just as an aside, I maybe I was watching Amityville with mom, like when we were younger, and she said she remembers when this hit like the newspapers. She remembers seeing pictures, and she's like, he didn't look right.
Yeah, the photos of him, like you hate to say that somebody has a look, but it looks like he had some issues. And also, I mean, it sounds like from sources that there already was some issues before they moved into this house with him.
Yeah.
But some people really believe that he was possessed, and he claims that he was, but then he kind of changes his story a lot. So,
there sounds like possession or some sort of mental illness or trauma.
Yeah, and it said that he had a troubled childhood. I didn't really dig deeper into it, but it's just like it was just something that it just sounds like there was a lot before he even moved into this house, maybe like a lot of issues that could have led up to this. But it's weird. It's just people did see him out at the bar. They said he made a call. Like there's just a lot of evidence. It looks like it was probably stacked up against him. But
would you say that this is the event that made this house famous? Like otherwise,
this is the event that put this house on the map for sure. Okay. And then it just goes on from there, because actually, and I went back, I'm sorry, I read my notes, and I did go back where he killed his entire family. He killed all 6 members of his family. And then it was like they were placed like face down, like in their bed. Like it's very gruesome, horrible thing.
Very gruesome murders. Yeah.
Like mom was saying, like this kind of, this was all over the news. So this murder puts this house on the map. So then what happens is this, a murder has happened in this house. This house goes up for sale. And a lot of people are like, oh, hell no, I don't want to live there. I wouldn't want to live in a house where something like that happened. So this Lutz family takes it on as, I could get in this beautiful house. It's a 4,000 square foot house, and I could get in it for $80,000. Like it's freaking steal, I don't care if people are moving there, let's roll. So this family moves in, and this is when shit hits the fan, paranormal wise, because they then move out 28 days later.
That's fast.
That is fast. You know, that's like not even time to like hang pictures and get things the way you want it, right?
It's like I feel like most people are there for at least a year before they even notice anything weird is going on.
Exactly. So supposedly they say they had everything from green slime oozing from the walls. They experienced eyes peering into the house from outside to foul odors. And Kathy Lutz, the mom, said that she levitated in the bed. Like all this happened within the first 28 days. So George, who's the dad, said that he said that he would wake up every night at 3:15 a.m., which is the exact time of death that the family members were murdered. So just, you know.
And just like 3 a.m. anyway, like the witching hour.
Not a good time.
Not a good time.
No. And so there was a book that is by James Anson. It's a 1977 book that was called The Amityville Horrors, was based on these events that the Lutz family. So you have the Defeo family first gets murdered. Lutz family moves in. Then this book comes out because this house is already famous because of this, and now you've got these people that move in and all this shit's happening, so it makes this house doubly famous, if you will.
Do we know if the Defeo kid is still in jail, or is he like
the Defeo kid actually just passed away a couple months ago, I saw.
Okay.
So yeah, he was in jail all this time. He served like pretty much, I think it was like 25 years per family member he killed, so like he had a life plus sentence. And I did see where he did pass away. I don't know of what, but he was incarcerated when he passed. So yeah. So anyway, so this book comes out, right? And so this book comes out in 1977, and it's basically all about what happens with this Lutz family, like all this crazy shit that they're experiencing, right? Mm-hmm. And so the book actually became a bestseller, and then it later grew into a film, which became a horror classic, Amityville Horror, right? And so legions of horror fans flocked to this town. So now Amityville is like 100% on the map.
And right. Also, just as a fun fact, isn't it Amity Island in Jaws?
Oh, is it? I think
so. And I think it's around the same area.
That's about the same, and it's about the same like at that time, the 70s, right?
Yeah. So if there's Amity, anything, avoid
Stay
it.
away. If you see the word Amity, you need to run.
Doesn't Amity mean like friendship or something? It's something like that. It's just like
it's not. It's the opposite. Yeah. Run
it's just
away.
To bore you.
So basically, this family is like getting a lot of attention, obviously, from this. And so here's when things get so Anson's book used 45 hours, of the family's recorded interviews as the basis of this book. So he spent 45 hours with this family just interviewing like all this shit that went down. So
can I ask, I don't know, maybe you're going to get there and let me know if I'm jumping ahead. Like, how did this author get connected with his family?
Hang on. Jumping ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to get there. So there's 3 kids, right? The 3 Lutz children. Christopher. So one of the kids, Christopher, who George is his stepdad, okay? He said that the hauntings happened, but his dad really exaggerated them to try to make a buck.
Okay.
Now here's where it gets funny. George was also very into paranormal activity. He was like very into it, like you and I are. And he said that he actively tried to summon spirits. Mistake number 1, okay?
Okay. He tried to summon spirits in a house where everybody was murdered. That's
exactly. And he also had a financial motivation to sell his story to the media because they were in really bad debt, okay? I mean, first of all, you buy a house for $80,000 because all these people that got murdered in it. You try to summon spirits, which happened, and you're in a lot of debt. So if he could sell the story, he can make millions, right?
He didn't just pick up the phone and call the Warrens.
Well, they're next. They come into this as well.
Oh shit! Didn't realize they went to that house. Okay.
Yeah, that's also funny. And so Weber, who was the Weber Defeo Jr.'s attorney, so the guy that murdered his family, his attorney said the haunting was all a hoax and was conjured up with, get this, Anson, the guy that wrote the book, was a drinking buddy of George Lutz.
Okay. I love the choice of words, conjured up as well.
Not my words. Remind me to cite my sources. Not my words, but yes. So they basically, I'm in this house. I'm in debt. I'm an author. I need a story.
You scratch my back, I scratch yours. Yeah.
There you go. Okay. So despite its appeal, the Lutz family did move out, and then the house did go into foreclosure in 1977. And I'm just going to give you a quick rundown. After this family moves out, nobody else really experiences anything.
That's interesting.
That interesting. But the next family did change the address. So it was 112 Ocean, but they changed it to another number, to 108 Ocean Avenue, because they just didn't want people Googling it. They just we don't want to do this, right?
Looking it up in the yellow pages.
Yeah, and so they didn't want to be found in the yellow pages. And so basically, after the Lutzes moved on and everything, no one has really experienced anything. But just a fun fact for you here. So it was put on the market in 2011 for $1.45 million, and then the price dropped to $1.35 million. So if that'll tell you anything about how property value, and tell me that it's still not a famous house. Into that scene. So basically no one has, this house is a beautiful house. People live there after the Lutz family, no problems whatsoever that they report. Change the address. But at the highlight of this whole Lutz thing going on, the Warrens step in. And actually, I think on one of the conjurings, I think they do the Amityville House, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know which one. But they do go investigate the place in 1974. Okay. So I guess this would be after the murders took place, and then at the time, where the book's out, and maybe the Lutzes had just moved out before it goes into foreclosure, that kind of time frame is when the Warrens sort of step in to investigate what's going on.
So did they do it on their, they wanted to do it, or were they asked?
I think that they wanted to do it because I think, one, it's pop culture, right? And they're we want to go check out this house.
We want to get on this.
Like a modern day Zach Bagans. He would totally be, if this was happening now, Zach would be there. Same sort of thing. So we want to see what's going on, with this house. And so it turns out, so Ed and Lorraine kind of do some research, and it turns out that this house wasn't limited to just these murders happening on this property. Evilness goes back way, way far. And so it's not just the house, but the actual land itself.
The land. Okay.
Exactly.
I mean, it being near the coast, I'm already ooh, water.
Yes, exactly. So they decided to also just kind of take a look at the land to see okay, what's the history here of this land, not just the house. And they found out that the Shinecock Indians once housed an enclosure that they used to basically house the sick and insane and dying. So basically it was an Indian
asylum.
Asylum, if you will. The Native Americans kind of used it as, we don't have anywhere to put these people, so we're going to make an asylum, if you will.
I didn't realize Native Americans had such things.
Right. So the Native Americans believed that people that were suffering from these types of things carried a negative spirit or energy. And so that left the property a magnet to demonic spirits, if you will, because the Native Americans believed that it was an infliction, some kind of negative infliction, a negative energy. And so they believed that land was already totally taboo before this house was even built on it.
Listen, did they? Now I'm curious. Did they? I wonder if they specifically selected that location to put these people there because it was already taboo,
Well,
or
think
put in
about
when
it.
they made it taboo.
It's kind of like oh, what is that movie? I just totally drew a blank. It's like one of my favorite movies. Step away from the light, Caroline.
Oh, Poltergeist.
Yeah, kind of like Poltergeist. If you think about it, like that land being haunted.
Yeah, but it's because they're building on top of burial grounds, right?
Right.
I guess what I'm saying is I
Here,
wonder why the Native Americans chose to put these people they thought were afflicted with some sort of negativity in that specific location, or if that was just random. And
yeah,
then
it
they
might
think
have
it
just been a
created
random.
that.
Maybe it was just a random space because they refused to even so the historic society there says that this tribe would not even use this land as a burial because like as the burial ground because they believed that it was still infested with demons. So basically it's almost like a piece of land that they just used for as an asylum and nothing else. And they wouldn't even bury people there. It was
Okay.
they believed
So
it
it sounds more
so
like it became, they're like, well, we're just going to pick that spot and nobody ever go there again.
yes.
Okay.
So apparently during one of the investigations with the Warrens, the spirit of a Shinecock Indian chief was conjured, and the chief told the investigator that the land was used as a burial ground. See, the historical society said they didn't, but this chief that they conjured said, yeah, it was. And so, what happened and why it happened only to the they're like it was well shouldn't have been used as a burial ground. It was, and so what Ed and Lorraine were trying to figure out is then why did these things only happen to two families but no other family? Like, you know what I mean? Like other families lived there before the Defeos. Other families have lived there after the Lutz family. So what is it about these two families
that sparked all this activity?
spark all of this? Because you would think with a property that active, everybody would have experiences, right?
It's so just that was kind of in Poltergeist, you can tell where it's like setting up to take over the whole neighborhood, like if you let it go long enough, you know?
Exactly. So Ed and Lorraine come to do this research, and then they were actually called to investigate 3 weeks after the Lutz family left. So anyway, they go in, take a look at it, and I think I missed that because you asked me if they called or they just went, but I read in my notes that they were called in, but I think they probably wanted it too.
Right,
you know?
of course they did.
I mean, who wouldn't?
But that's also, I don't know, they're probably, well, one, they're like one of the only ones, but they're actually pretty famous at this time, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's like late 70s. So they are like, there's nobody like them at this time, you know, that I can think of that are this famous. I'm sure there are people that are doing it, but not like this level of these guys. So when Ed and Lorraine get there, Ed goes to the basement, right? And he uses some religious tools to really try to push the spirits to get them like fired up. And he was physically pushed to the floor. And then Lorraine had this sense of a demonic presence. She just felt it, you know, and she was plagued by a psychic impression of the Defeo's dead bodies, covered with white sheets lying on the floor. She also experienced being pushed back by an unseen force. And if you Google these pictures of the Warren, it's like if you Google Warren investigation of Amityville, the pictures they get are really creepy. Like they see one of the little boys that was murdered.
He's on a staircase, right?
Yes.
Okay,
and
yes.
You can see him. Okay, that's from their investigation.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Funky stuff.
It looks like a real kid. Like I remember looking, I was like, okay, it's just a kid on the staircase, but then apparently there's supposed to be a kid there.
Exactly. So what Ed and Lorraine thought about that photo is that they believe that that the youngest, they believe it was the youngest little boy who was murdered there. He was only 9 when he was murdered by his brother. So I mean, I know we talk about energies. So I do believe that energy is probably definitely there. I would be scared to conjure that.
I just, I don't want those kids to still be there though. I hope they're gone.
No, I would like to think that they've moved on to better, but I mean, just that event has to have left
like put an imprint
Yeah,
somewhere.
that's a very, very good way to say it. So their further investigations revealed that John Ketchum once owned the land, and he practiced black magic in a cottage that was on the property before the house was built in 1924. And here's the creepy part: Ketchum is buried on that property, and his remains continue there to this day.
I don't like that.
I don't like that either. So I think that's some bad juju in itself. So,
like what if all this dark energy is him?
It could be, you know. I just feel like, so from the murders, the Shamrock tribe, black magic, abuse, drug use, gruesome murders. I mean, it's no wonder why there are, you know, some crazy things going on. But again, I mean, it's kind of weird that it only happened to two families. And just a fun fact, I did pull so I did find where the house did get purchased again, most recently in 2017 for $605,000, and it hasn't been on the market since, I don't think. And still, no one has
reported any strange activity.
Yeah, has said anything. Yeah, has reported any strange activity. So it's just really two families there. And I want to, before I forget, because there's so many great sources, and I want to cite my sources here. My first source was allthatisinteresting.com/Amityville Horror House.
That's a good one. I like that source.
It is such a good source. I love that source so much. And also, usghostadventures.com, haunted stories of the Amityville Horror House. And last but not least, www.velvetropes.com/backstage/Amityville House. So excellent sources there. They did a really good job. What do you think? Like, do you think that the Defeo kid that did the murders, do you think he was possessed, or do you think he already had some issues and it just drove him to it? Like, you think he would have murdered his family even if they didn't live in that house?
It's like, I don't know enough of his backstory to fairly say. I'm highly suspect that this house isn't haunted, though.
You don't think it is?
I really don't.
Yeah.
Especially, the only odd thing, the wrench in all this, is the Warrens, to me.
Right.
Because I do trust Lorraine and Ed, or did.
Yeah.
Anyway, like, I think they were on the up and up. But what if they were possibly picking up on something that wasn't manifesting?
It's true. And I'm like you. Like, I'm kind of on the camp where, first of all, with the Defeo kid, like, I do think there were some issues there, hands down. And I'm on the fence, because the one part of me is, if he was carrying a negative energy and stuff like that, did the negativity attach to him to make this happen? I don't know. You could argue both points, you know, or would this have happened if he lived in a house that completely didn't have anything? As far as the Lutz family goes, I don't doubt that there was some activity there, but I definitely feel like it was 100% a money scheme,
fame hunting
type thing. And it worked, obviously, because, you know what I mean? Like, it took off at that point. And I'm like you, the monkey wrench in it for me is the Warrens, because I am such a fan, and I feel like their work is credible. And I don't like why. I guess for me, the thing I can't figure out is why were only two families impacted and not any. Because I mean, this house has exchanged hands quite, you know, a good bit if you look at it, and you only got two cases out of. And you don't really, you know, out of it, all of these other ones. I don't know.
I mean, okay, I guess just let's play out both scenarios. Like, what, or maybe there's three. One, it's not haunted, right?
Right.
Two, it is haunted. Or three, these families are haunted.
I see what you mean. Like the. Do you think do you think like the energies are already attached to these people, and so they bring it with them?
Potentially. Or like, let's say that there is already energies in the house, but for some reason they just didn't like these families.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I can imagine if there was child abuse. That's the only thing, though. Like, okay, let's go back to the Defeos. The thing that makes me hesitant to think, like, oh, it was trauma and abuse, which I'm not saying it's not, and I don't know. Like,
Right.
but I would think he would target the abuser and wouldn't kill his siblings. Like, why does he
Sibling.
have to do
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
That's the odd part to me. That does sound a little bit more demonic, I guess, because it's just such a horrible thing to just shoot
It
children,
is.
like your
I
own
agree.
siblings.
I agree. And I mean, but like then again, in his sick mind,
Maybe he was
was
freeing
he
them.
thinking that he was freeing them?
Yeah.
Like
So
maybe they had already undergone supposed abuse that he had, and he saw how it had impacted him, so he wanted to relieve them of that. It's the only thing I could think of. But I mean, I think the whole thing is gruesome and horrible. And I don't know if it's something he would have done no matter where he lived, or did something really attach to him, or did he get in a bad drug deal or something? And
right.
I mean, it really could have been a drug deal gone bad. Like he owed somebody some money, and
Or did he just take some bad drugs
or that too.
and just
Like
think that, like, I'm possessed by Satan and I have to kill everybody?
That's also something on the table.
There's too
So
many lingering questions with that
I
one.
agree. And I do feel like the Lutz family, I mean, I don't doubt that there wasn't things that happened, but I do think it did seem a little, much. But
Convenient too,
what
like,
about the
oh, I just
Warrens
happen to
though?
have a friend
Like,
that's
what
an
about the
author.
Warrens?
That's the thing. That's what kind of leads me to maybe it's the third option. To me, if Lorraine picked up on something, there's something there.
I
And if there's
agree.
something there, it targeted these two families.
Right.
Or
I
maybe
agree.
just the Lutzes. Maybe it was like, you're a fame whore and I'm gonna fuck with you. Or I don't
Maybe
know.
that
Or the
too.
DeFeos. Maybe it was like, I see the abuse going on and I don't like
I
it
gotta
and
get
he
these people out
possesses
of
things.
here.
Like, I
Yeah.
don't know.
But it almost seems like though, if the energies there were evil, they would have liked that they were doing those things. Especially the
True.
guy that practiced black magic.
Yeah. It I don't know. It's
It
just
just doesn't.
it
I
doesn't
can't wrap
add
it up.
up.
It doesn't add up. I can't wrap it up in a nice package. So I'm basically leaving you guys today with these questions. What do you think, guys?
Yeah. I mean,
Literally,
I don't know.
I'm very torn on it. Like I could argue this all day long, but there's not one side that I'm on like 100% on that camp. Like yes, this is what it was. I don't know, and I think
Yeah.
I mean I think had the Warrens not come into it, I would be like, yeah, there's probably some icky stuff. However, I think it was a lot of this was made up. But then when the Warrens come in and all this stuff they experience, it just makes me feel like I don't understand. Like I mean, maybe these people cleanse
Did they
this property
or did
and
they
they
like
just stayed away
summon
from
these
them,
things?
or well, especially the Lutzes. I feel like they did summon them because remember the kid said that
Yeah.
his dad obviously summoned it. So there's that. Maybe these
So
other people were like, I'm not summoning that mess. Like, no. And then we
right,
don't
maybe.
know about the DeFeos. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I don't know if anybody's ever interviewed the kid about it, the one that actually murdered these people.
And
That
now
would be
nobody ever
fun.
can.
So
I'm sure somebody. I'm sure there's
there
stuff.
has to be. But we don't know. It's just really weird. But
It's
I mean,
like the
I feel like people have lived there and they've been just fine. So
I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to
or
think
maybe
of.
Ed and Lorraine, like, could it be possible that Ed and Lorraine cleansed it and maybe that's why nobody else has ever, but then there's families before them too.
But that's what I was thinking. If you look at the timeline, so we had that one guy who's buried on the property that did black magic.
Yes.
But he did that before the DeFeos.
Yes.
Which is already weird.
He did that apparently before the house was built in the 20s.
And that's still kind of associated to the land where we get back to the Native Americans.
Exactly.
But what is it about this house?
See, I don't think it's the house. I think it's
Is it the land? I feel like there was something weird about the boathouse too, like at some point.
Yes, you're right. I think I'm getting those. Yeah. So yes. So maybe that was more like where he was or where he's buried.
Like, I don't know. This one's kind
It's
of
a
a
weird
head
one.
scratcher.
This one is a head scratcher, and it's very interesting. So I would love to know what our listeners think. I would love for you to comment and tell me,
Yeah.
like, what are your theories, or do you have any theories, or are you just as confused as we are? Because
You know what it sounds like? We just need to go there and investigate.
yes, I really feel like we do for sure.
I think the true question is, would you buy the house if you got a good deal on it right now? I mean,
You
assume that you
know,
don't already have like flights
yeah.
of fancy kind of
I
thinking.
mean, honestly, I don't know. If I knew that children died there, no, that would just bother me. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Like if someone passed of like natural causes, I would be like, yes, in a heartbeat. But to know that like if the whole family was murdered there, for me, that would just freak me out. Like
It'd be kind of icky.
that would be something I couldn't separate myself. Like even though it happened so long ago, that would just be something I couldn't. I mean, I would stay there overnight, but I wouldn't
Yeah,
buy it. I'm sorry.
that's
I just don't think I
kind
can get that out of my, like, no. What about you?
it kind of makes me think of whenever we were having a hard time finding a place to live when
That
we
was
first moved to New
weird.
Mexico.
Tell them their story. Yes, it was
I'm not
no.
gonna be specific at all, but some like we were looking at some rental properties when we first moved to New Mexico from Chicago, and we really liked this place that was kind of like more out and kind of in the woods. And we were like, that'd be so different and cool, and we really like it. And it's
Right.
like, okay, what's the story, And then my wife Amanda talked to the person who was renting it, and they were like, well, I do have to disclose it. There was a murder suicide here, and it wasn't necessarily a deal breaker for her, but I was like, no, I'm not living
That's
there.
me too. I mean, like I said, like, in the house we live in, people have passed of natural causes. And I mean, I'm okay with, but something tragic like that, I know I would have to pass, even if it was for $80,000. I would definitely have to. I'm sorry, no.
Unless I don't know, and that would be pretty shitty too. I was like, unless I made it into like an Airbnb and like made that story, but that's kind of exploiting these people, and that's not right.
Yeah, I would pass.
I think I'd have to pass. Either that or like buy it and turn it into something good.
Yeah, like demolish it and
like demolish it, and like now it's like a homeless shelter, but not shitty. Like actually.
Yeah, I'm with
pantry.
you. I wouldn't want to live there. No. Mm-mm. But that is the story of the Amityville Horror House. And if you're not familiar, like really, like the original movie is great, the new movie is great. I mean, you can find tons on it. Our sources that I cited, they did a really great job. So thank you, sources.
Yeah, I like how you didn't go too deep in the woods of it. You made it more about the location, because I think there are a lot of things on the Lutzes.
There's a whole lot on the murders, and I didn't want to just focus on that piece either. Just kind of wanted to give you a brief history of a tragedy that happened there. Moving on. So I really like the part about the land too as well. I thought that part was very interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to know if other incidents have happened on the land itself, or if everything's focused around, or like how big is the property? Do you know? Like,
let's see. I do know
how big the house is, but
I know the square footage of the house. I don't know like how many acres like the property is. So it's a 4,000 square foot house. So it's a pretty large house. So, and I don't know about the acreage, but I mean, that's a big house.
I'm assuming it's just a big plot. Like I'm assuming everything's just pretty big.
The house is big. So I would imagine it would have, a nice sized lot. So it would be interesting to know like where all this activity happened. Yeah. So it's just
I don't know. That one.
I'm leaving you guys with a lot of questions for sure.
Yeah. It's not like the rake.
No, it's not. Unfortunately, no. This really happened.
I really don't know. Honestly, I would say no. I don't believe anything paranormal is going on there until the Warrens said.
I know that's the silver lining. It's like dang it. Whenever I was even thinking about like where to put the Warrens in this. So I'm like, I really want to tell the history of the house, see what you think, and then be like, boom, the Warrens. And you were like totally guessed it. I was like, no. I wanted to surprise you.
I think that was kind of just like my litmus test, you know? I was like, did the Warrens investigate this? What did they say?
They did.
Or they say it's haunted, right?
They say it's hella haunted.
Like not even haunted, but like demonic stuff.
Yes. Like,
but isn't that what is it? The greatest trick Satan ever. Oh, I'm gonna butcher this. Like pretty much like the greatest trick Satan ever pulled was making people think he doesn't exist. That's kind of like a demon move, right?
That's very
Lay
true.
low. Oh, that maybe it's not the house, maybe it's the families, and I have forever to screw with people.
That is interesting. So like maybe just taking a break.
Yeah. Just like, I don't know if I could have as much fun with you guys. I'll wait until you leave. Let's see the next one.
Or maybe like people just have like dynamic personalities. Like, oh yeah, this is the person like the Lutz family. They're probably like part time.
Like we can have fun with these folks.
Showtime.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So are we ready to spin the wheel to find out what you're going to research for?
Oh yeah, we are.
Yes. Spin that wheel.
So let's see what my topic or category of topics will be. Let me share my screen for those of you watching, including you.
For those of you that aren't watching,
all right.
We are spinning a wheel.
You see the wheel?
The wheel?
The wheel. Here we go.
Oh, what is Adele going to cover?
Ooh, possessions.
Ooh.
We're just staying in this like ghostly state. All right.
I love it.
Possessions. It's my category.
I love it. I can't wait to see what you're going to do with that.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I actually don't know a lot of possession cases, so this will be fun for me.
Yes. Well, guys, thank you for listening to the story. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it gave you a lot of thinking points. And if you, I would love to hear your thoughts. So find us on social media. Find us on Facebook, Instagram. Sometimes we post funny stuff on TikTok.
We have like 2 videos.
We have like 2, but they're really funny. And you can also find us at stormywillow.com.
That's right. And as always, stay safe.
And stay curious, friends.
Alrighty.
Bye, you guys.
Bye.